Hello, I'm Mark Carter of Mark Carter Hypnotherapy and I'm based in Brentwood, Essex, and I'd like to give you an insight into what hypnotherapy and I are all about. So, to start, allow me to tell you a little about myself. I served 30 years in the Metropolitan Police Service in London. All of my service was in the East End of London and it was a very busy and very culturally diverse area to work. For the most part, it was immense fun. But as you can probably appreciate, the nature of my role meant that I was privy to things which were frustrating and at times very upsetting. So some things I saw had very adverse effects on me, both mentally and emotionally, so I did struggle with anxiety and PTSD from time to time. The thing was, being so busy, it was difficult to fully understand what was going on in my mind. I would come home and not be as happy as when I left for work. Symptoms such as a fast pounding heart, headaches, being moody, no sleep, nervous tics, weight loss, allowing alcohol to become a normal part of my day, feeling emotionally drained and sad to the point of tears were all starting to manifest. My mind was trying to tell me something, but it was the waking, sweaty, screaming nightmares that finally drove me to take a long, hard look at myself and admit that there was a problem, a serious problem, and it had to be addressed. I was fortunate enough to be referred to rehab, which for the most part was okay, but what I found was that I had to share my issues with a room full of people whom I didn't know, and in all honesty, this form of therapy just was not for me. I am, and always have been, quite a private man. Now in 2017, whilst at work, I realised that many of the staff whom I supervised were also struggling with anxiety, but the means to help them were not readily available. Then I happened to have a conversation with a colleague who had a relative who had just come out of the army and was struggling with PTSD. This former soldier was having hypnotherapy, and that was my light bulb moment. I looked further into it, and within that year I completed a diploma in hypnotherapy. Now I cannot tell you how much it changed my life. Hypnotherapy for me is not a job anymore, it's an absolute passion. Since 2017, I've helped so many people, some of whom have been kind enough to complete written or video testimonials, which I've added to my website. If you are watching this video because you are struggling with anxiety, check out my testimonials on my website, and I promise you there will be words spoken somewhere by one of or many of these people that will resonate with you. And you should always remember, you are not alone. So now a little about hypnosis. What is it? Well, simply put, hypnosis is a heightened state of focus, not sleep. This means when you are in hypnosis, you can still hear what is going on around you. You are aware of sound and touch. There is nothing magical about hypnosis. It is in fact a very natural phenomena, as natural as breathing. You actually go into hypnosis several times a day. Examples can be that daydream state as you are staring out of the window, or when driving your car and not remembering the last 2 miles that you've driven. So how are you put into hypnosis? Well, there are several methods by which this can be done. The names will mean nothing to you, but what I will say is that you can be placed into hypnosis by means of talking you into a deep state of relaxation, making you stare at me or a spot in the room, making your hand stick to a chair or table, making your arm stiff. The thing to remember though is that you must want to enter a state of hypnosis, and when you are under, I can take you into a deeper state. Now it's also important to remember that you cannot be made to do anything that you do not want to do. So another question is there a chance you won't come out of hypnosis? The answer is absolutely not. Remember, you are not asleep, but in a heightened state of focus. If I were to leave the room, after a while your subconscious will advise you that nothing is happening, and you will simply open your eyes. Now, hypnotherapy is a process of using hypnosis to interact with your subconscious mind. I cause you to reflect and create a positive change in your life. Imagine your whole life as a film. Well, we can rewind that film and edit it. There are many ways in which we can make this happen. My role is to contact your subconscious mind, that part of the mind that holds all your emotions, senses, and memories. But how? Well, your brain has a filter which in hypnotic parlance we call the critical factor, like a firewall in your computer. If I show you a pen and tell you that it is a mobile phone, your filter will bounce that back as not true. If, however, you allow me to go around the filter, I can within reason convince you, your subconscious mind, to make that pen a mobile phone temporarily. Remember when I said that I'm essentially a private man? Well, the form of therapy I use is called content-free hypnosis, which means I do not need to know the most personal details as to what is going on with you. Your subconscious mind already knows what is wrong and why and what needs to be removed to deal with it. I simply put you into a focused state and your mind clears the clutter. Hypnosis can be done face-to-face or via Zoom or FaceTime. I don't actually need to be sat in the same room as you, although it is better to be face-to-face. So now you know a little about me, hypnosis, and what we can do for you. So what's the next step? Well, before I tell you, you should know this. If you are still watching this video and struggling with anxiety, you have won half the battle and have won the hard part. The hard part is admitting you have a problem and reaching out for help. And so to the next step, find me on YouTube or Google Mark Carter Hypnotherapy. I'm also on Facebook and my website is www.markcarterhypnotherapy.com. There you will find so many testimonials of people who, like you, struggled with anxiety and are now where they need to be in life. From there, you can click the link, fill in the form, and then you can have a free 40-minute strategy call with me where we can work out a plan for getting you back to where you want to be. So, whatever you decide to do, I, Mark Carter of Mark Carter Hypnotherapy, wish you the very best mental, emotional, and physical health. Good night.